Ask them why they did that. I was talking to a client of mine this morning, and he was concerned. He's got this customer that he's worked with for a long time, and he said they got shitty old equipment, and I have given them quotes a number of times to replace their equipment, but they still keep kind of dicking around and doing the same thing over and over again, and then they'll ask me to bring them a quote, and I bring them a quote, and then they don't do anything with it. And he says, I just need to go tell them that what they're doing is stupid and that they're wasting a ton of money. And I said, whoa. Slow down. I said, why do you think that they're doing things the way they're doing them right now? He goes, well, I said, no. Why are they doing things the way they're doing them right now? He goes, I don't know. I said, right. You don't know. And I said, so how are you going to find out? He goes, I guess I could ask. I said, no shit. You can ask. What would you ask? And he said, well, maybe I could say, look, I've given you guys have complained about stuff for a while now, almost a year. I've shown you how you can fix it a number of times. Clearly that hasn't resonated. There's something I missed. Why are you still doing the same things over and over again that you've asked me to fix several times and you haven't taken my fix? And he said, I can ask that? I said, you're damn right you can ask that. That's your job. That's your business. That's what you need to do. Instead of going and trying to convince somebody, selling is never about convincing. Selling is trying to understand, to sit on the same side of the table as your prospect, understand their situation as best as they can explain it to you. Have them share the problem with you, figure out what's the problem, right? And then from the problem, you dig in deeper and find out how important is the problem, right? How much is it costing them to do this thing a certain way? Do they even know that number? If they had to come up with a number, what would it be? And if you, the salesperson, happen to know that number, like my client, he had their service records. He said they spent like $30,000 on service on a machine that would cost like $60,000 to replace. And he's been talking to him for a year. And he said, by the way, I get paid more money on service than I do on equipment, so it doesn't hurt me either way. I said, you need to find out what's going on. Maybe they don't have the budget. Maybe they don't like the fix. Maybe they don't want to spend that money. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that the guy's about to get bought and doesn't want to spend money. Who knows what the problem is? We don't know. We can assume. A lot of salespeople, right? We like to connect the dots. You like to say, oh, well, they did this, so it must be that. We got to quit doing that, because most of the time when you guess, you're wrong. And you're wrong, you don't even know it, but you're wrong and it hurts you and you don't even know it. It's when we make assumptions about why other people are doing what they're doing, that's when we get hurt. That's when we screw up the worst. We quit asking questions. We connect the dots. We're so smart. We race ahead. Great salespeople don't go fast. They go slow. They go slowly, and they always want to dig to the next level deeper, right? Tell me more about that. Hey, can you give me an example? How often does that happen? What have you tried to do about it? Any of that stuff work? What do you suppose it's cost you? And I don't know, could it really be that much? Well, is that amount of money, is that a big deal? What happens if you don't fix it? Gosh, what do you think you should do? Imagine if every time you heard a problem from a prospect, you followed up with those questions. A couple things happen. Number one is you've earned the right to solve it at that point. You'll probably have a much higher chance of offering the right solution. But number two, or number next, is you'll understand that person and their problem and how they feel about it more than anybody else. Right? There's a level of trust and bonding that happens when you're able to get there with a person. People want to share their shit. They want to talk about it. They just don't have anybody who will listen, who will help direct the conversation, not with statements, but with questions. Help them dig through and figure it out. Because I said, maybe that guy who's been dealing with the same problem, he may not know how much it's costing him. Or that may be an acceptable level that he's willing to stick with. Maybe he's just a whiner. Who knows? Ask why. You can never get in trouble asking, hey, why did you agree to buy? Or why did you not buy? Or what did I miss? Right? Always be curious, be seeking to understand the other person. Ask why. Don't assume you know. You want to know more? Go to my website, walkermckay.com, WalkerMckay.com.